All right, we are back with my good friend Robert Zarco, and I'm going to start at the top. We talked about why he does, we talked about what he does. Now we're going to find out why he loves it so much, because Robert could have retired a decade ago, but he's still at it. So Zarco, tell me, what makes this such a tremendous thing that you keep wanting to do it even though you could have retired?
It feels so good. It feels great. To know that I can change people's lives, help them change their whole financial picture, which in turn changes their entire family environment, relationships between husbands and wives that get impacted by suffering through financial difficulties created by others, is something that you just can't explain. And the financial reward, yes, it's nice. You know, I live okay. But you know what? It allows me to provide for my beautiful family, my 3 children, my mother, who's 93 years old.
I've seen her. She's at the house with the trainer.
93 years old. Bless her heart, still lives with me.
Tremendous.
I take care of her, and with the help, obviously, of my sister and my brother, and she's still pushing along there. She does have a personal trainer, by the way.
I know that. I've been there when the guy came over.
Yes, every Tuesday and Thursday, we got her going, and we got her moving, and you know, I live on the water, so she sits in the back, loves to look at the boats, and frankly, I'm helping giving her a life she never really had before.
Let's go back for just a second in case somebody just tuned in. We're talking about a lady that worked in like basically a sweatshop after she came and was stripped of everything by the Cuban government, we'll just say for now.
My mother and father.
Yes, and your mother is now here experiencing the American dream to its fullest through you, her son. I don't think there's a more beautiful story out there. From mowing lawns to taking care of your mother, that's my dream.
Well, my mom and dad did work very hard, you know, the really hard way. My father at a factory, my mom was selling clothes at a sales place, a clothing store.
I know, my wife.
I think it was called. I think it was called Learners back then. Oh my God, Learners. Yes, and then she worked at the nursery school where my little sister was at. You know, to try to be a mother, a wife, a financial contributor, and then you know what she did when she was about 50 years old. Approximately, she actually went back to school and got her license revalidated as a pharmacist here in the United States, and was a pharmacist for South Shore Hospital for over 30 years.
So think about all the lives that she saved and changed also.
And she loved it, and she loved it.
Well, what I really love is the energy that I'm getting from you about all this, because it's really...
Because I told you, it feels good. It feels great.
Of course it is.
Of course.
Look, I'm going to talk. I can't talk about certain things, but I can talk about the fact that whenever I have a problem, you're the guy I call, because I know that you love us, you know, for 30 years. And you know I'm always going to give you the right advice, and I'm always going to be honest with you, whether you like what I'm going to tell you or not. Yes, and I take your advice.
You do.
I take your advice.
Some clients don't like to because they think, oh, I want it my way, but they don't understand that the law may have certain restrictions and constrictions and parameters that sometimes you just cannot cross.
Well, I really think that the best way to say it is that a person should surround themselves with the best in class and then take their advice. It's the same thing you do with your law firm. You surround yourself with the best in class.
You know what? When I went ahead and built out this law firm, it was a vacant space. All I got when I moved in here 3 years ago was an elevator core and the exterior windows. And the rest was, okay, go for it. So you know what I did? I actually took a yellow pad and I designed the whole place on a yellow pad. Where the entrance, the reception, my office, the bathrooms. And then I had a wonderful friend, Stephen G., the interior designer, who told me that I was crazy, that I didn't know what I was doing. And he came in and he looked at it and he goes, oh my God, after looking at this for 2 months, everything you did was right. But now let me go ahead and dress it up. And of course, Stephen G., with his talent,
he's gorgeous.
Went ahead and did a wonderful job
Who was your TI guy? Who built this place out for you? Give them a shout out.
City Engineering. City Construction. Yes.
I love those guys. That's why I solicited it.
Javier Huncabeda.
The Huncadayas. I love the Huncadayas. Both of them. Hunka City, Hunka Real Estate. Love those guys.
Yes, Blanca. Yes, fantastic. And City Construction did an incredible job here. They were quick, they were efficient, they were proficient, and they did an excellent job. And frankly, if you look around after 3 years, of being here, an office that has as much traffic as we do. And by the way, we never shut down even during COVID. Because interestingly enough, I was on this, what I consider to be my last hurrah, because it's a 20-year lease, and I'm not 22 years old.
You put in the air handlers.
I put in everything to make this the most comfortable environment, and instead of going to the normal new way of thinking, which was reduce size of offices, like all these big corporate law firms do, I went the other route. I went and increased the offices for all my lawyers, all my staff, and as a result, I got rewarded, because when COVID came, the natural distance that existed between secretarial stations was 10 to 12 feet.
Oh my gosh.
So this office was already inadvertently set up for COVID. It was great.
What it really is set up for is productivity and kindness to the people that work here. I think it's very important when you're putting an organization together, especially like this one, where the foundation is to help people and make their lives better through creative solutions, that having this office set up and the environment of kindness, I mean, from the minute you walk in and see Ronald McDonald with the hamburger.
And the fish tank.
Oh, the fish tank. Well, let's talk about the fish tank, because that's where I got my photo with Don Shula. Let's talk about the fish tank and Don Shula. Tell me how you met Don Shula.
Oh, wow. His wife, Mary Anne Shula, who's my very, very, very dear friend, called the Federal Trade Commission in Washington because of Shula Steakhouses.
Sure.
And said, I've got a situation with some franchisees, and I need you to find out who is the best franchise lawyer in the country. And the individual of the Federal Trade Commission said, well, where are you located? She goes, well, I'm here in South Florida. She goes, well, you're not going to believe this, but the best lawyer in the country is in your backyard. And as a result of that, I became involved in representing Coach Shula and Mary Anne in their Shula Steakhouse business, which was an incredible relationship that's been going on for over 15 years. But you may have heard a lot about who Coach Shula is and who Mary Anne. You will have never, ever met a nicer family than these people.
Agreed.
So grounded, so kind,
yes,
so generous.
Yes.
And if you ever want to know what it feels like to be next to God, go to a Super Bowl with Coach Shula. And I went to 5 Super Bowls in my life, all 5 with Coach Shula. And I mean him and I and his wife and his assistant, and going through the crowds where I was like, he called me his wingman, where I had to help him get through, and people were climbing over me to try to touch him, was a feeling that I will never be able to duplicate in my life. In fact, I probably will never go to another Super Bowl again, because I can't possibly top that experience, and I want it to be the last taste in my mouth. But you know what came from that relationship as well?
Tell me.
One of the most rewarding experiences in my life, which was representing the 120 members of the Surf Club.
Wow. That was a great real estate deal. Let's talk about that.
It wasn't just a real estate deal. In fact, the least important part of it was that it ended up being a real estate deal. The important part was that there were 120 families that owned the Surf Club, which was in dire financial straits. It was bankrupt. And for 30 years, people have been trying to sell the Surf Club. And there was never a way to formulate it, because everyone was focused on one thing: the price.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's not how you sell the Surf Club. When you have 120 families, my friend, there's such a psychological element involved. You have to consider their heart, their emotions, their desires, the fact that many of them were children of the founders of the Surf Club. So when I approached the transaction and I was hired to become Surf Club General Counsel, I approached it from what do you need to make you happy? And it's one of the only transactions that I'm aware of where you have, in essence, a country club, okay, a social club, which, even though it sells its main asset, which is a property, still has lifetime membership for its founders, has the ability to go to the facilities at all times, were able to get certain price concessions when they wanted to buy condominiums in the most amazing new development. And I got to take off my hat to the developer, Fort Partners, Fort Capital, run by my very good friend, and now my client, because I now became general counsel as well, for Nadim Ashi.
Oh, that's great.
And Nadim and I are like brothers. I told him, and he will tell you that this conversation did take place. I said, you must invest in this. You must follow my lead. I know it's way out of what everyone is telling you. The other developers wanted to buy and say goodbye to the members. He was the only one that agreed to embrace them along the lines of my requirements, which would be the only way that I could do a deal that made them feel good. And as a result, he will tell you, like I told him in advance, if you do this deal on these terms, on my terms, which his own lawyers told him not to do, which was great advice. The lawyers told him not to do it, was great advice. The problem is, if he didn't do it on my terms, he would never get the property. And he listened. He trusted his adversary. And to this day, we are best of friends, and it changed his life. Where today, he's one of the most prominent, preeminent developers, not only in South Florida, with having purchased the Four Seasons brand in this state, but through developments throughout the world. All because of the Surf Club, which all started because I put the people before the money. The priority was taking care of those members. And today we're very proud to see the most phenomenal
it's tremendous.
Property
Tremendous.
on 91st
Tremendous.
and Collins Avenue,
Beautiful.
which is the Surf Club, with the wonderful restaurants there. And if you have not been there, you've got to go. This place is over the top, and I'm very proud of it.
You'll take Vivian and I someday. I can't wait. But I really want to say that what I really found out when I talked to you just now is you really taught me something. That whole process that you discussed about how you did the surf club is really what a lot of people are going to have to be faced with here along the coastline coming up. And we'll probably talk about that more in the coming days rather than here on camera. But the lessons that you just taught me, I'll take with me for the rest of my life. I want to thank you for that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the other things. Oh, it's time for a break. Thank you. He went like this. That means break. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to sell a couple of cars, and then we're going to have our final segment with Robert Zarco, and I'm going to ask some really good questions.